Hello, Illinois FFA. My name is Cole Piggott, and it is an honor to be here today to introduce our best friend and State FFA President, Gage Miller. Throughout the last 10 years, the memories that myself and our friends have made with Gage are simply indescribable. We planned this introduction to highlight the things that you may not know about Gage, the behind-the-scenes insight on what has made him into the man he is today. For starters, apparently Illinois FFA does not pay very close attention to driving records. It is no secret that Gage is quite possibly the worst driver out of all of our friends. I truly believe that the only thing stronger than Gage and I's friendship is the front bumper of his Chevy Cheyenne. My experience of being Gage's friend has gone in many different directions, but one thing's for sure is we've always managed to have a good time. And I couldn't be more proud to call the State FFA President, Gage Miller, my best friend.
Throughout high school, we always knew that Gage was going to be successful, but there was always some moments that we had our doubts. But Illinois FFA, I know that you heard some amazing speeches from Mr. President himself, but let me tell you, I have heard some pretty bad ones firsthand. Whether it was the first time running for Section 3 office or his numerous football game pump-up speeches that sometimes involved wildlife, you never knew what was going to come out of that kid's mouth. It truly amazes us how someone can go from backwoods coon hunting in full head-to-toe camo to an FFA event in official dress without skipping a beat. Nevertheless, we can all stand up here today and admit that Gage's spontaneous attitude has kept our friend group together.
From the times Gage and I spent in FFA, I always knew that he was going to do big things. To this day, I can remember zipping up the blue corduroy jacket for the first time at our first FFA event, 212 conference. I can distinctly remember being there for the first time during one of his most monumental experiences. Let's just say, the Illinois FFA, that you didn't find this kid on the dance floor. He was indeed hiding under a banquet table. I think I can speak for all of us up here that we are thankful that Gage has successfully made it out of puberty. As we grew up in the blue jacket, I was lucky enough to serve as Gage's chapter and section vice president. The impact Gage has had on our FFA career is mirrored in his ability to motivate you, the over 20,000 FFA members in the state of Illinois. Now, to close out our introduction, we would like to welcome to the screen the final member of our friend group, Tanner Kazire.
Hello, Illinois FFA. My name is Airman Tanner Kazire, United States Navy. Throughout the past year of going through boot camp, A school, C school, and now becoming a part of the fleet, I've been somewhat distant from Gage's experiences of becoming a state officer. But if there's one thing that I have learned, winning an argument against Gage Miller is much more difficult than completing boot camp in the Navy. Last year, at this time, I served as Gage's runner in the beginning of his journey to becoming a state officer. Since then, I've watched Gage serve Illinois FFA with dedication and perseverance. It is amazing to see the person that me and my friends shared so many memories with turn into somebody who still can't seem to figure out a decent haircut. But in all honesty, Gage, we are so proud of you and the person that you've become. It is amazing to see the impact that you have had on FFA members throughout the state. And now, it is my privilege to introduce you giving his retiring address titled Destination Unknown, your 2019-2020 State President, Gage Miller.
Sick and tired of running circles for miles and miles, being lost and never really been my style. Thought I told you I was looking for a sign.
Life's a journey, not a known destination. And for many of us, we can remember when that journey really began. I was 5 years old when my dad asked me if I wanted to go hunting with him for the very first time. You all knew a hunting story was coming, so why not start with the very first? Knowing absolutely nothing about hunting, I said, yeah, let's do it. He said, all right, I'll wake you up at 4:30. My face showed deep concern of being up that early. He laughed and said, 4:30 it is. When the early morning arrived, I was not having it. 6 different times it took him to get me up, and finally on his last try, I got out of bed. Now, this being my first experience hunting, I didn't really have the proper hunting attire. I ended up wearing a camo coat, some brown Carhartt bibs, and my legendary Swamp Buddy Shrek snow boots. We got out of the stand and walked for what seemed like miles. Up ahead, I saw a fog and a flooded swamp. My dad ended up carrying me through the swamp and up the stand that morning because I was gassed. We get settled in and it's literally pitch black. I felt like I was staring at my eyelids. I waited and waited and waited. No deer and no sunlight. I figured the deer were probably sleeping and it'd be appropriate if I did the same. And then I remember waking up to an elbow. Do you see him? Nowhere. Right there. I have to take the shot. Okay. But where? Boom! The smoke of the Thompson Center muzzleloader cleared, and I remember my dad smiling ear to ear because he knew our hunt was successful. We climbed down from the stand and found our deer fairly quickly, and then took this iconic picture that will forever be my favorite hunting memory. Check out those snow boots. Don't I look fierce? As the years went on, the hunting adventures continued with my best friend.
October 1st, Henry County, Illinois. Watch this big buck come in here almost every night. Cameras. Me and Gage are here tonight. Gonna try to take him first day. See what happens. Rained all day. Cameraman Gage.
2013 spring turkey on her way Monday morning. Got a little rain last night. It's about mid 40s here. A little chilly, but not much wind. Go get us bag us a couple gobblers this morning, I think. What do you think, Gage?
Yep.
Okay, I turn the camera on you now.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's get it.
These outdoor experiences have shaped me into the young man I am today. That one morning of hunting with my dad sparked my favorite passion that signifies who I am. Hunting has taught me patience, why we should value the opportunities we are given in life, how to overcome obstacles that just don't make sense, and the unpredictability of our pursuits. I'm sure you can relate to that one place you're most passionate about that makes you unique. Your favorite place where you can go to feel free and put all of life's challenges on pause. Our lives are constantly on the move, and we are driven to fill every hour of our day with activity. FFA members, ask yourself, what special place am I most passionate about that allows me to escape the constant rush in our society? Your place for direction. Is it on a basketball court? On the top of a ski slope? On the dock of a lake? In the middle of a cattle pasture? Binge watching Netflix on your couch? Sitting in your agriculture classroom? Or in my case, a hike through the timber? How would your day be different if it wasn't always go, 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 and you took the time to reflect? Now, when I wasn't out and about serving Illinois FFA this year, you could probably bet on what I was doing. As soon as I got home, I was either jumping in a tree stand or going on a hike to simply reflect on the amazing week I had just experienced. Whether it was chapter visits, Builder 212 conference, industry tours, or just a normal week in the office, I felt like there was always a way to get a better understanding of my experiences by thinking about everything one more time. Whether it was the diverse, unique, and amazing students I met, the unbreakable bond my teammates and I were forming as the year went on, what I've been doing right, and the things that I could be improving on as a state officer. Now, you may be out there like, Gage, this just seems like a lot of overthinking, which in some people's cases it may be, but for me, my passion for the outdoors gave me direction. When I went to my place of escape, I felt like everything just made more sense. I valued the outdoors so much because it was a place that I trusted, a place that was always peaceful, a place I could go when I needed guidance. My love and passion for God's greatest creation is strong, and some of my life's most valuable moments have happened in the place that I escaped to. I visited my place when I knew what I wanted to do, but didn't know how I could get there. Throughout this year as state president, I was often stuck in a place of insecurity. I learned so much growing in my years in the FFA, modeling some of our organization's best leaders. But on a daily basis, I questioned if I had the defined qualities of those who came before me. Was I as good of a leader as Cade Hill? Was I as professional as J.C. Campbell? Did I have the energy and enthusiasm of Mr. Joy Beertier? And we can't forget the sincerity of Miss Sophia Horton. What I came to realize is that our role models are not put in our lives to be compared to, but to motivate us. I am the person I am today because of my own direction they gave me. After an escape on one specific day this past year, I realized that I am in control of my own journey. My passion for the outdoors brought me this reassurance. Let me tell you about how my place changed my direction. This spring, after a long week of officer duties, I found myself in a 6-mile hike looking for white-tailed deer shed antlers. It had been a slow day, not finding many sheds, so I decided to take a break and sit on the edge of a small creek. I began staring at the water, thinking about everything. When will we have state convention? When am I going back to the FFA Center? Am I fulfilling my duties as state president? Am I ever going to finish my retired address? All of these different thoughts and emotions started rolling through my head. I began staring harder at the water. And then I found something far more valuable to me than a shed antler that day. A very smooth rock caught my attention. Now I swear this was the first thing I'd picked out of this entire creek. Call it luck, or maybe faith if you want it, but I had found a Native American spearhead. One of my top bucket list items I had always wanted to find. It was so cool. Think about the history this thing has been through. Did it kill a deer? Did it miss? Was this made by a Native American trying to prove his worth? The journey this spearhead had been on was probably so amazing. I'll never get to know its full story, but through its journey, it somehow ended up in my hands. It was on this day, sitting in my place of escape, that I found the symbolic representation of being pointed in the right direction. I was so fascinated by the craftsmanship on this Native American tool that I wanted to know more. I started doing research on Native Americans and their nomadic culture. Let's travel back through the ages to a time when this spearhead was put to use. A nomad is someone who lives by traveling from place to place. Native Americans lived a nomadic lifestyle because the most important piece of their survival was following the animals they hunted for food. These animals were their livelihood. Just like you and I, their achievements and destination were not mapped out. They lived through a journey that was simply undefined. Undefined means without fixed limits, indefinite in form or extent. Native Americans didn't know where they were going. But don't let that fool you. You see, they weren't lost either. While they didn't know when or how they were going to achieve the goals they set for themselves, they used their passion of providing for their tribes as their map to success. After a deeper understanding of Native Americans and their nomadic culture, it's obvious why they thrived for thousands of years. They walked an undefined route, fueled only by their passion. In my opinion, the Native Americans were some of the first people to show us we can always accomplish our goals. Our passion is our compass to success. I share this spearhead story with you because it gave me direction while in my place of escape on my undefined journey. It made me realize it was okay not to know what was ahead all the time. While we should not fear the unknown, we must identify the undefined. Doesn't that sound like something you may be familiar with? Something we all can relate to. You set a target in your life that you want to accomplish. What lies between your start and end destination is so unpredictable. Obstacles can form, and plans aren't exactly what you want them to be. But with perseverance and the right mindset, you keep working hard through every twist and turn of life's maze, using your passion as your compass to your end destination. And although we set these goals in the beginning of where we want to be in life, our final destination is not known until the end of what I call your undefined journey. Now, this is the point of the speech where I really want to get real with you. As state president, you're often looked at as a person who completely has their life together. But I want to let you in on a little secret. Throughout my life, I've often found myself lost on my own undefined journey, without a focused direction. I felt like my year as a state officer was a map that was passed down from president to president, legacies that I had to follow, and expectations that I had to meet. But what I now realize is that each state officer had an undefined journey they could only discover on their own. I think we all can relate to when we had a similar undefined journey this year, a time where we felt confused and scared with no direction. This past spring, we were faced with something we had never seen before, a virus that changed all of our lifestyles, COVID-19. I could not believe I was being sent home from the FFA Center for months during state convention planning. When I arrived at my home, I was extremely confused on the direction our organization and entire world was headed. It wasn't until my overabundance of time during quarantine that I found more direction after watching one of my new favorite documentaries. While Tiger King did come in a close second, I found a lot of insight from the ESPN film, The Last Dance. This documentary is based around the success of the 91-93 and 96-98 Chicago Bulls basketball team. First of all, I knew Michael Jordan was good, but after watching all 10 episodes, it's hard to believe that man is even human. Besides the point that he is the greatest basketball player of all time, what really opened my eyes was the journey Jordan had taken to reach such a high status in the NBA. From being cut from the basketball team his sophomore year of high school and considering giving up sports at an early age, to winning 6 championships and having his number retired, he went through it all to create greatness. But throughout the documentary's timeline, my by far favorite scene was an individual interview with Jordan on his response to what he was always working towards. He stated he wanted to follow the footsteps of those before him. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas were all amazing basketball players that he wanted to be just alike. But what he came to realize is it wasn't about being like them. He told the interviewer he saw great success after pushing aside the expectations set by those before him. You see, there were times where even Michael Jordan had no direction on where he and his teammates were going. But he used his passion for the game of basketball and those before him as his map to success. Undefined journeys are everywhere. How you handle the journey is entirely up to you. And I think MJ is a prime example of why we should not fear the unknown. What makes Michael Jordan's story even more unique? His coach, Phil Jackson, led the Chicago Bulls using Native American principles of leadership. Michael Jordan was reminded on a daily basis that in order to succeed, you must stay focused, play as one team, and persevere. The Chicago Bulls' journey, much like yours and mine, was undefined, but it was only their best qualities of leadership that were going to allow them to succeed. While Michael Jordan's success could be accumulated in a hand full of championship rings, our success could look much different. As FFA members, our targets might be set on winning CDEs, making new friends at a conference, or reaching record-breaking membership. Specifically, our goals this past year were met with roadblocks and barriers throughout our undefined journey. Seniors weren't getting the senior year they deserved. People were losing their jobs, chapter banquets, other state conventions. Literally everything was getting canceled, and innocent lives were being lost. Our world had no direction. We know what we wanted, to get through this in the safest way possible. But how? It was in our hands to navigate and embrace this undefined journey we were all a part of. During the quarantine, I experienced the most rewarding amount of success and the most direction I had had in months in one single morning. As I stated before, I must credit my dad for sparking my passion for the outdoors 15 years ago. So this past spring, I made it my mission to get him a turkey after all those years of letting me take the first shot. I'd done the math, and he actually hadn't harvested a longbeard since my very first in 2012. With him being busy in the fields planting, I knew I had a small window to end the 8-year drought. We approached our final morning, and the pressure was on. As we got to the blind, I knew we were in for a good morning. Everything was perfect. And then, as soon as there was enough light to shoot, a turkey broke from the hardwoods behind us. I called a few more times and began recording while he got his gun ready, and then the rest was history. The 8-year drought was over, and I had just experienced one of the most rewarding hunts of my life. It's crazy where our life's journeys can take us. It seemed like yesterday when I was taking a shot on my first turkey, and now I was the one calling them in for him. Truthfully, this hunt would have never happened if it wasn't for our stay-at-home order. Now, there is no doubt in my mind I would have enjoyed wherever I would have been on my FFA journey that day. But I trusted my undefined journey. And I knew being in the blind with my dad that morning was where I was meant to be. We actually recreated this picture. My passion gave me this direction that led to an unforgettable hunt. Now, after my long break, I'm back in the blue jacket, doing what I love with more direction than ever. This year, we learned how our journeys can simply be turned upside down. Never did I think I would be giving my retiring address through a screen, but that was the route chosen for me. And that, my friends, is what makes this RA and the RAs of my fellow state officers unique. We recognize that we are making state convention history and how this will impact the future. Our journey here today was truly undefined, but we made it happen because of our passion for this organization. FFA members, ask yourself, how am I escaping my daily routine to find direction? As we leave this virtual session today and go separate ways on our own undefined journeys, think about what you can accomplish by not worrying about every little step to your end destination. If we all just take the time to step back and visit our place of escape, we will move forward with more direction than ever. For me, It's the place that's always quiet, holds childhood memories, and gives me passion. The passion I have to wake up early and go hunt. The passion Native Americans had to provide for their tribes. The passion Michael Jordan had to win 6 championships. The passion we had to be present for this extended virtual state FFA convention experience. It's our passion that allows us to accomplish our goals. And we should not be intimidated by our goals either. You know what you are seeking, so go get it. Don't let your destination unknown stop you. We come up here as state officers to try to motivate you to look at things differently or how we all can make a difference. But in the end, we know our journeys are just as undefined as yours. Through your successes and misfortunes, roadblocks and accomplishments, threats and new opportunities, all paths are a part of your journey to your end destination. What will your undefined journey look like? Illinois FFA, you're not lost if you don't know where you're going. You are simply on your way. Trust the undefined. Visit your place of escape for guidance, and your passion will direct you to success. FFA members, you are only given one journey. Go find your unknown destination.
Gage. Whether you are hunting for the biggest buck or the tiniest detail in your work, no one is more dedicated to perfection. Your charming smile, creativity, and heart full of gratitude are an inspiration to those around you. From delivering a powerful message to styling on-point hair, we know that we can always count on you. Thank you for making every moment a memory that we will always cherish. We could not envision a better teammate. Young Guns for a year, family for life. Lane, Emma, Colin, and Brody. Ladies and gentlemen, for the final time, your 2019-2020 Illinois FFA State President, Mr. Gage Miller.